good to go here. Okay, guys. Hey, thanks again for joining in for American Entrepreneur, where we interview entrepreneurs all over the world. But as long as they do business in the United States, we're just here to hear their story. And they're going to be able to teach you a couple things that they've gone through in their life. And maybe you're able to take it and apply it to your own life. So the first guest we have here, his name is AJ Rivera. He's from Chicago, Illinois. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm from Chicago. I live in Los Angeles now, but yeah, I am from Chicago. I just moved to LA in the past 6 months, so yeah.
Great, man. Well, I came across your profile via Facebook. Looks like you're a fitness mentor. You have a lot of business experience. So just to get right into it, who are you, what do you do, and what got you into entrepreneurship?
Totally, yeah. So my name's AJ Rivera. I'm a fitness business mentor. Before that, I was a personal trainer. I owned some studios in the Chicagoland area for about 6 years. I got into entrepreneurship. I like to kind of feel like I always was in entrepreneurship. I feel like most entrepreneurs feel like that. My big thing is I always looked at everything as like ROI. I had a hard time looking at something and like not knowing like, oh, not like what do I get out of it, but like what's the return on the amount of energy or time I'm going to spend on this thing. So that's what kind of got me into wanting to, like, that mindset is what led me to becoming like a personal trainer and a studio owner versus an operator working in one. And so I did that for 6 years. It was great. We were able to scale up our studios to about $60K a month through a lot of coaches and mentors I've had in my life. I love having mentors. I always have at least one. Right now I have like 4. I really think it's what keeps people ahead of the game. I always say I'm not that smart. I just hang out with really smart people all the time. So yeah, and so I remember how impactful those people were in my life. And so I wanted to give that back in the best way I knew how to, which was helping other struggling fitness business owners get their studios to, a successful rate so that they can make at least, a living wage, and doing what they love to do, helping people. So that's kind of my deal in as short as I could do it.
Yeah, you just hit on the whole mentorship, how important that is. I think the number one thing is if you have somebody kind of guide you. Now, I've seen a lot of people who are successful who grew up in an entrepreneurship family where their mom or dad started a business or their grandfathers, and so they kind of have a path built for them. Now, was that in your case, or did you have basically ground zero? Who do I talk to about what I want to do because I don't have too many people around me?
So like my father and my grandfather were kind of entrepreneurs, but a little more old world, a little more old school, brick and mortars, that kind of thing. Sell things at volume. So there was a little bit of that in my life, and they were always very supportive of what I was doing. But for me, I'm really bad at networking. Like, I'm not that good. Weirdly enough, I'm right here, right? But I'm really bad at like talking to people. I'm kind of socially awkward. I'm kind of nerdy.
You don't seem it. I'll tell you that right
now. It's like on camera. I guess it sounds. I look like a halfway normal person. But yeah, totally. Like, I'm kind of nerdy and I'm like afraid to ask people for stuff. So one of the best ways I could get help was literally hiring people, right? And so I hired all the mentors in my life, and I've started like more and more with my networking. All I do is just try to give to people who are smarter than me, which is most people, so that in some way I could add value to their life, and then maybe they will help me in the future, but I try to not expect anything. So it was really mentors. If I wouldn't have had coaches and mentors in my life, like, I accelerated my life by at least 10 to 20 years because of having coaches and mentors. And I am not underestimating, like, I am not underselling that. Like, literally, it would have taken me 10 years to get to where I am right now.
All right, so what you left off with before was mentorship. Now, I know how hard it is to find somebody that you trust. Did it take you a little bit of time to get over that, oh man, I don't know if I could trust this person? Should I give this person my money? How long do I give them before I say it's not working? Do I give up? And is there anybody that you would like to share to the masses that's going to be able to see this?
Yeah. So I think I was always scared. I've reached a point now where I've had so many mentors that I'm not scared. That first few is going to scare you because you're going to feel like you're being scammed almost, right? Like, you're signing up for this thing through the internet, and even though it's becoming more and more commonplace, like, we're becoming more and more connected digitally, like, people still are scared, right? They're afraid. They think is this a Nigerian prince who's going to steal all of my information and run away? Like, so I think, yeah, I was definitely scared. I definitely had bad coaches before too. Like I had coaches that I would borderline almost call them scam artists, but for me, it's like part of the deal, right? I had to go through those not so great coaches to get to the amazing ones, right? And the not so great ones, they're always cheaper. That's a good indicator. Like if a coach is cheap, I probably won't sign up with them because that means they probably can't get me that good of a result.
That's a good sign there, man. I would always wanted to help the entrepreneur and offer my services really low just to get everybody going, but you can't offer a great service if it's cheap. That's the truth.
Yeah. And if you offer it too low, like there's no motivation, right? There's no motivation to take action on stuff. I see this now with like, I have private coaching clients and they pay thousands of dollars to work with me. And I have like a membership site with like, it has like 4 to 6 new trainings a week. And that's like only like $97 a month. So that's my real cheap option. Those are the people who aren't getting results as quickly, like for the most part, right? And it's because you have less motivation, right? You have less skin in the game, as it were, and there's nothing forcing you to succeed. So like one of my best mentors in my life, his name's Dave Rogemoser and Chris Hall. They kind of work together as a team. They operate, they run the Entrepreneurial Alliance, Market Results. Those are kind of their companies. He was kind of cheap when I signed up for him, and I almost didn't because of how inexpensive he was. I was expecting him to charge me double to triple what he initially did. But the reason I signed up with him is because of how like straightforward he was, right? So I called him and I said, listen, I need help being able to reach more people with my offering. And it looks like you've been able to do that for yourself. Could you do that for me? He goes, well, I've never done it before, but I probably could do that. I could just show you exactly what I did. And so he was very honest, and that's why I joined up with him. And, you know, I'm infinitely thankful for him because of that. Literally 10x'd my whole business right now. Because of him, I found my CFO, my CMO. I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for Chris Hall, Dave Rogemoser, and John Philip Morgan as well. I would be remiss if I didn't mention him. So no.
Nice. You're rocking some Grant Cardone language over the 10X. I guess you're.
I am a fan of Grant Cardone. I'm not super into the 95-hour work week, but I do like Grant Cardone. I think he's cool. He would probably not like me because we kind of teach like very approachable sales, right? So like one thing I do like about like all these big names like Grant Cardone and Gary Vee is, and they say it so many times, but people have a hard time taking the advice, is just be yourself, right? Double down on who you already are and try to become as self-aware as possible and go all in on that. So when I started coaching, I kind of tried to be like a Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, tough. And I'm not, right? Like I look like this, approachable person. And so I asked my clients and my audience, I was like, why do you guys like follow my stuff? Like, why are you even interested in me? And the things I got from them was, oh, you're very approachable, you're very calm, you're very likable, humble. That sounds super unhumble now that I said that, but that's the feedback I got. When I was expecting like tough and savvy and intense and hustle, I didn't get that response. So I shifted how I started to present myself to my market. And I was like, well, this is why people are signing up anyway, and this is just who I am. So I'm just going to do that. So like our big thing is like how to sell stuff without having to be like a hardcore closer or a tough in your face guy. Not that that's unethical, but how to just ethically sell in an approachable, likable way.
Authenticity, man. I think that's one of the big keys to the whole thing. You find out who you are, what your strengths are, chips all in, and you're on, the right path because you're not trying to be anybody except yourself. So I think that's huge.
Yeah.
So you talked about your mentorship. You talked about your entrepreneurial, it seems to me you're just as, I'm finding this out every entrepreneur I talk to, the passion, the drive, like what got you to fall in love with exactly what you do. So can you just give a real quick, synopsis of exactly the business that you offer and why do you love it so much?
So I love the business I offer because I remember how big of an impact it had in my life. I remember what it was like to be poor and broke, and it wasn't super long ago. That sounds like such a typical entrepreneur story. Wasn't that long ago I had $10, but seriously, wasn't that long ago where I was struggling in my gyms, not even 2 or 3 years ago, right? So I was struggling bad in them, and I remember what it was like to think, man, I don't know if I can provide for a family. And this was like when I was engaged, about to get married. So I had this all in my mind, right?
And
And then that
how old are you?
shift,
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Wow, amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
good deal.
So I'm 26. So I remember what it was like to be, thinking, oh my gosh, I can't like, how am I going to provide for my fiance, my eventual wife? I had told her to quit her job. I had no plan. I just didn't. She was hating her job, not hating it, but it was beating her down. I was like, just quit. It'll be fine. I didn't know how it was going to be fine, and the whole like pressure that got relieved off my shoulders when one of my coaches for fitness business first impacted me, and it allowed me to really like hit. We had to hit like 60K for the first time in a month in our studios, and I was just like, oh my gosh! Like I started crying. I remember how thankful I was, and I wanted to be able to give that opportunity to other people because it's still fresh in my mind. I remember what it's like to be scared, and I remember what it's like to feel alone. Your friends don't understand you, right? Because none of them are, a lot of them probably may or may not be entrepreneurs. Now all my friends are entrepreneurs, but back then, right, they weren't. I was hanging out with, people who were cooler with the operator life, right? Like fitting into a system that already exists, which isn't better or worse, it's just different. And so I had nobody to bounce ideas off of. I had nobody who could empathize. I didn't understand. And I know what it's like to be scared and alone and think, man, everybody else can do this. And what's wrong with me? And really, it's just they just need the right tools, and they need somebody to tell them this is the right way. And so I wanted to give that opportunity to other people. I wanted to give that opportunity to the managers of my studios who ended up buying them. I had two. Each of the managers bought them. I never want people to feel small. I hate that. I hate when other people make other people feel small. And so that's what drives me. It's the people I get to work with and the impact and it's them doing the work. I would never take credit for their successes or their failures, right? But I just feel lucky enough to be a part of it and to help point them in the right way. So that's what makes me super motivated. Yeah.
It's beautiful, man. Yeah, it just seems like the people who risked it all and put themselves out there, and then they fail a bunch of times, and they start to be successful. I notice that they want to give back because there's a saying out there that once you take something in, you're supposed to give it back to 10 more people because you've acquired that. So I see that a lot with entrepreneurs who make it, and there's a lot of experts out there, but maybe so because they went through such hell to get that it's selfish to keep it in and not share with them. So maybe that's what it seems like with you. It's like you want to give it all back.
I do. I want to give it all. And like my big thing now is, yes, I want to keep helping my clients, but like it's my team, right? One of the things Jeff Woods told me, who's host of the Mentee podcast, he's the VP of Keller Williams Realty. I was lucky enough to meet him at a mastermind retreat. It was if you're going to be the guy at the top, right? The CEO, you need to make your world big enough so that your top guys or gals can achieve their dreams within your dream. And so that's like my big motivator now, right? So like I have my top three, right? And I'm like, I need to make sure my world has to get bigger so that you guys can accomplish your dreams within this dream. So while maybe for me, I'm like, I could probably just stay where I'm at for the rest of my life and feel pretty content. It's not enough because I owe so much to my team. I wouldn't have been able to do it like half of what I have done this year without them.
Wow.
You can't accomplish anything of significance by yourself.
No.
I'm not that smart. It's because of I just surround myself with these really smart people, and so they deserve to be able to accomplish their dreams. So Grant Cardone, I have to 10x my business next year so that those three people can accomplish their goals, and I will do everything I can to make sure that happens for them. So
it's beautiful, man. And if there was one piece of advice that you would be able to provide somebody, the whole premise of the American Entrepreneur video series is somebody can watch this that's out there who's either scared to start their business or kind of lost in their own business right now. And each entrepreneur, no matter what industry they're in, we want them to kind of teach something that they believe help them get to where they are now. So is there one piece of advice? I know there's tons of them because I have 7 in the book that I wrote, 7 pieces that I think are so crucial to business development. But if there's one that you would be able to share with our guests here, what do you think?
There's so much advice I want to give. The best piece of advice is one that Dave Rogamosa and Chris Hall, John Philip Morgan gave me, which is done is better than perfect. It's been everywhere, right? But it's the reason our businesses have been successful. Again, it would have taken longer if I spent forever prepping, right? You can prep for launch, right? You can build for so long, but like done is always going to be better than perfect. Just go out there and start doing it. Like if you have a service, start offering it to people. If you have a product, start trying to sell it, even if you don't have it yet, because you need to start taking action now and fail fast in order to get to the thing that's successful, right? Like I tried making it online with like 5 other businesses before I landed on this one, which is the one I love the most anyway, right? It's always the most obvious thing, right? I skirted around, tried to do these other things. I'm like, this is the thing I actually want to do anyway. But yeah, like, so done is better than perfect. Because I was able to fail through those 5 things pretty quickly, I was able to get to this successful thing that much faster. So done is better than perfect.
I believe it, man. I agree with you because they always say you got to kiss a lot of frogs before you find that one, and you got to make your mistakes and all the ones that really are they don't matter really because it's basically just it's your education. So when you get to the big game or whenever you get to the real business, you've learned everything, so then you can just implement it all. So that makes sense. Now, how about websites? Anything that you have out there that our guests can see, look at, and find out more information about you?
Sweet, yes. So we're launching our book next January. More information on that to come. But if you go to my website, it's aj-rivera.com. It's like the word river with the letter A. Some people spell it weird, like Riviera and stuff. So rivera.com. Also, I'm super, super active on Facebook. So facebook.com/AJ Rivera official is going to be a really good way to connect with me as well. And so those would be the 2 points of contact that I would recommend for people. Yeah.
I just wrote a book too. It's called Dreamstarter, the Startup Business Guide for the Diehard Entrepreneur. What is your book? I love meeting all these authors. I'm going to all these seminars, and these authors have incredible ideas. What's your book about?
So our title is yet to be decided, right? Okay. But it's a book on building fitness businesses, brick and mortars nowadays, right? So how like a lot of the books that are out there are stuff that worked 8 years ago, 10 years ago, but the world moves so quickly now that that's not as efficient. So it's basically a very quick overview of everything you would get if you worked with me in a book. So that way you can actually build a fitness business that's successful. Today, a lot of people, they're trying to jump into all these other things, like especially fitness entrepreneurs, right? They want to jump into like, I'm going to start a clothing line or I'm going to start online because they're jumping ship. They think that their brick and mortar business won't work when really this is the easiest time in history to open a brick and mortar fitness business and make, $250,000 a year minimum if you're not doing it. If you're doing a medium job, honestly. So
the demand is so strong for fitness related businesses. Even a couple of my clients that are into the fitness industry, and it just seems like there's such a strong demand, and that is such a big piece to building a business that if you know there's a demand, you can make it a little bit better than your neighbor or your competitor, right? And you have something there.
Yeah, and you don't need, like, people think they need to have all the clients. Chances are you don't even need 1% of your localized market to make multiple 6-figure earning business, right?
Wow.
People, you need 60 clients to make $200,000 a year. That's it. 60 clients out of, even if you live in a small town, that's not that huge of a population. So, yeah.
Incredible, man. And by becoming the American entrepreneur, you've created jobs, right? You've created income for people. You've given a service. You've given value to people. You hire accountants. You hire people to, I guess, insurance. Like, think about all the stuff that you do, and I think that's one of the big pieces to, entrepreneurship. They don't realize the avenues that the money actually flows into and helps out the economy. So it seems to me that you're on the right path, and I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to be giving a call after this. I want to take a look at everything, and I'm sure some of the people watching this are going to be checking it out. So I thank you so much for being a part of the American Entrepreneur. Is there anything else you want to say, man?
No, I want to thank you for having me, Mike. I really appreciate it, man. I love what you're doing here with the American Entrepreneur. I think it's great. I hope I added some value to your audience and to you. And if anybody needs anything out there in the world, even if it's just like some advice, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm not going to charge you for it. I want to try to give back because I feel like I've been given so much. So, yeah.
That's awesome. We're going to try to have you back on here soon. Even early 2017, I think. So,
Oh, that'd be great, dude. Yeah.
So thank you very much, and stay tuned for more, guys. The American Entrepreneur. You guys can, if you're an entrepreneur out there, you have something to share. You can go to DreamStartersUniversity.com/American-Entrepreneur, and you're going to be able to see us on YouTube, a couple different channels, and even on Facebook Live here soon. So, so thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget, the American Entrepreneur will always create more. Thanks, guys.